Oh man, the Rolling Stones are just it, you know.
What do you mean?
They're the greatest rock and roll band in the world.
Trying to tell me about this bunch of people here?
Well, they're weird, aren't they? It's charisma. Mick Jagger especially.
He's the sexiest man on earth. I invested in the Beatles when I was about 10.
The Rolling Stones' Wednesday gig is over. In 4 hours, the stage is cleared, the theatre empty, and the circus rolls on. How many people here actually work for you?
We're about 20. Lighting crew, PA crew, and truck drivers. I think it's 23 altogether. Production people.
Well, roughly, what do they earn, these people?
Not very much, actually. They get about 80 quid a week, but it's not enough, really. You know.
Why do they do it if it's not enough?
Because they don't want to be bank clerks, I suppose. Or cameramen.
The Stones are asleep. 4 trucks and 30 tons of equipment are already arriving for the next gig 300 miles away.
It's a unique business, I think, working with groups. I can't think of anything that compares with it, and I can't think of anything else that I could stand doing. There are a lot of problems inherent in touring. Carrying this amount of equipment around in one night stands, it's got to be difficult. However well it's arranged in advance, it's got to be tough.
You get no comforts at all. Seems to me that it's the roadies that get the female company these days.
No more. I'm afraid the days of the groupie are sadly gone. Myself, I'm a happily married man, but...
See, the letters are missing off the front, or half missing off the front of that truck there.
Yeah.
It's an occupational hazard, is it?
Yeah. All the badges, every time, every tour, every badge, anything that's not stuck on gets nicked.
I've unloaded this. I have to go back and do a little job for Yes to trail us to the airport tomorrow, and then come back, pick this lot up, take it to Stafford, and then back to Earl's Court, and then I've got 3 dates in France for the Who, and then back to Earl's Court again, load out and over to The Hague.
You're not married by any chance, are you?
Used to be. Had to give it up.
Where's the lighting crew right now?
Well, they just arrived, I saw them. They were last seen looking at daisies on the hard shoulder of the M6, saying, oh, I thought that was the fuel gauge, man, and it was the oil gauge, man, and I don't care. Well, they know that. They're here.
What's this colossal great thing here?
That's the blower, which goes under the forestage. It blows a phallus, sort of 20-foot high, inflatable tube. Cock, actually.
Guitarist Ronnie Wood joined the group last year. The other four Stones have worked together since the early 60s. Another ubiquitous newcomer is Keith Richards' 6-year-old son, Marlon.
It's in the blood, you see. It all comes down to those 2 hours on stage. They're the reward. The feedback from the audience and the general thing that when you do play in a town, it is a big event for that town. Everyone's looked forward to it for months, and even though sometimes we're so weather beaten that we don't even know which city we're in.
Did you ever just wonder where the hell you are?
Yeah, I put a notice up on my bathroom mirror. It says Brussels Hilton, right? So when I wake up, I know that I'm in the Brussels Hilton.
Unrecognised and unapplauded, Ian Stewart, roadie, arrives to set up Charlie Watts' drums. Twice during the show, he'll play piano on the stage. Few will recall that he was a founding member of the Rolling Stones.
We're concerned with the band. Make sure that they're safe, they get where they have to go and get back, and to let the crowds get autographs, but not to hurt them. Let them get close, but not close enough to do any damage.
Hello, mate.
There's something about the aura of Mick Jagger. People tend not to come up to him because I don't guess because he's Mick Jagger. There's a certain indescribable thing about him. People are timid. They just won't approach him. I've seen that with The Who. Crowds run up to Roger, but they'll come up to Mick Jagger and they'll stop, and they'll be undecided until he'll indicate that it's okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's an interesting phenomenon.
Backstage, as the doors open, the Stones relax with their warm-up group, the Meters. Out front, the rush has already begun for the best seats.
We're betting on the correct scores, and it's on a first-come, first-served basis. But what I will give you this little bit of information that everyone, half of them are Americans and they don't know anything. They're all betting on Munich winning, right? And if it's St Etienne, no one's betting on St Etienne winning 1-0.
I love playing the drums, and I love playing with the Rolling Stones. I mean, my wife always says I like them more than I do, which isn't true, but that's the sort of thing it is, really. In a funny way. I don't mean that they ever rival her, because they don't, to me, you know, but there is this ridiculous thing. I think they're great, and I love playing with them. You know, whether they're good musicians, whether the music's good, I don't know.
Can't get your laundry done, you can't eat regularly, sleeping gets messed up a bit, which ain't too bad, but I think eating is the worst, you know, to get a decent meal at 4 in the morning in England's impossible. You can do it in America, you can't do it in Europe, you know.
But the travel and so on doesn't bother you particularly?
Not really, no.
What about Astrid? Does she come around with you all the time?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't trust leaving her at home. And she wouldn't trust, you know, leaving me on tour, so it's kind of works out fine. No, there's no reason for her to be at home, you know.
Have you thought about taking your wife around with you, overcoming the problem that way? Huh?
She comes on the tours occasionally, but she doesn't like them. I don't blame her. I mean, what is it, really, you know? Apart from the show, and it's all me. It's what I do.
We keep hearing about the final tour, don't we? It was the final tour of America, the last one.
I went to customs in London about a month or so ago, and this guy who was checking my bag, he says to me, didn't you used to be in that group that used to be called the Rolling Stones?
But I've packed up 4 times. Doing gigs, I mean, to myself I had, and my family, you know, I thought, that's it. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'd enjoy as much, or what, you know. So difficult. I mean, I wish I was a writer or a painter or something, because you know, you got it all there.
Some bands have their old bands and they progress, and the bands drop off and they get no new ones, and so eventually the band has got no supporters. With us, we just seem to be picking up new bands every year, and it's great. So the age group just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. My mum would be a fan soon, yeah.
The tours are fun, you know, they're hard work, and because of the mixture of people thrown together, if they're good, a lot of people, they're fun. People, you never forget them. They're all sort of different, but so it's like a split thing with me. You know, there's that side of it, and there's a bit where the door shuts and you're on your own in that bloody room. Which we're very lucky, you know. I mean, we travel and can afford to stay in good places, you know. But you know, I'm the sort of person that shuts the door all the time. When it shuts and you're on your own, man, that drives me crazy. I sit there. But then, you know, that's just me, you know. I should really be downstairs, bopping around, but I'm not like that, you know, so it's very hard. There's this sort of real split thing going on. It's all right once the sun comes up for me.
Taking crews of 50, 60 people in hotels every night, airfares, you know. You can't make money in Europe, you know.
So what's the purpose of doing the tour?
I got fed up with gardening.
When I moved to France, I drank a bit, you know, more than normal, because I never drank much. I just looked at myself and thought, fuck, you know, it was happening, little belly coming out in the eyes. So I thought, and I get very ill on booze, so I just thought, well, let's try stopping it. And this is easy life to get tough in doing this, you know. Especially if you're lucky to be in a position I'm in. I mean, you can sit here and have anything fed to you, right? If you wanted that sort of life, it wouldn't last long, but you could sort of get into that. You can't live a life like that. Or can you? I don't know.
Have you seen it happen to the people around you during the course of your...
Yeah, you see that those little trails don't work very good, and so do they, and they come out of it all right, you know. They do it. But it's you can get pandered to in this profession, and people can stab you quick as well. But
see this?
Yeah, that's nice. That on top of that.
Yeah.
That on top of that's good.
See, look that up there.
Well, I doubt we can make any of it. We're going to go tomorrow, aren't we?
Red socks. Oh, red shoes we got. No. Boom, 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 boom.
Well, I'm on the train. I'll go on the train.
I'm not going on a train, Charlie. You going on a train?
If I can get on it. If not,
they won't let you on it.
Everything is done for him. It's completely pampered. It's like Elizabeth Taylor's. Nothing, mate.
American dry ice.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ask, but I...
What's American dry?
Ginger.
So it goes with it.
Let's have a look when you open.
Of course it goes.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking about what you've got on underneath now.
Well, that doesn't go. What's the alternative?
You're going to take that off anyway.
Very shortly.
Scotland win, we want the result up on stage. If they don't, we don't want it.
This is a bit small, isn't it?
I'll put it on your foot and do it.
She says. Cost thousands of dollars, mate.
Sweat.
These shoes are soaking wet.
Surely he gave you the other pair.
That'll be fine.
Get the jewellery out. $18-carat diamond, mate. Everyone a Maserati.
What's Mick Jagger like to work with?
He's very gentle. He's very easygoing. He knows what he's talking about, and so there's no difficulty in communicating. Very nice, actually. I mean, I was given sort of lots of warnings, and lots of different friends sort of said, oh, you know, you're going to have a dreadful time and it's going to be awful. And I was influenced a little bit by what they were thinking, and haven't found that at all, actually.
Well, when you say what they were thinking, what sort of horrors were they giving you?
Like, oh, the Rolling Stones, you know, oh, you're going to be late every night, you know, you're going to really have, like, dope thrown up your nose and everywhere and all that sort of thing. But they're human beings, right? And so am I, and it's not like that at all. I mean, I don't have to do anything, right? I'm not saying that I don't. Shit.
Right?
I knew it wasn't a good idea.
Like that. Get a bit of old cloth, my scarf.
While football absorbs the backstage crowd, Bianca Jagger cracks the champagne to celebrate her 5th wedding anniversary.
It's to fight the on-the-road look, you know. Whether it appears I've got 6 months to live or not, who knows? 6 months is a long time. I should be so lucky.
Well, you know, Howlin' Wolf died on stage the other week, didn't he? Or just after he came off. That's the way I like to think we would do it too. Not die on stage, but just carry on till we're having to visit the hospital for blood changes or something, you know.
That guy can't have the swap.
Multivitamin. Salt tablet. And the boy's ready to go. That's it.
You got 2 solid hours in front of you now. You just put your whole self into this 2 hours of every evening.
Yeah, that's the whole day, really. I mean, the rest of the day is just free time, piddling about, really, you know. I mean, the whole day becomes what you do on stage. Everything else is either building up to it or relaxing after it.
They've hit the bar twice, the French. Twice they've hit the bar.
It must be fair just to do it every night. You've got to be in pretty good condition, you know. I mean, to go from 3 or 4 months in the studio and living at home and then leaping on stage out of nowhere and just doing it. If you weren't in good shape, you wouldn't make it, no way. You know? I've never had to worry about my body. I've been used to punishing it and then been able to take it.
You don't ever look forward to the day when you won't be on the road and you just have time to do anything else you may want.
We could all do that now. Nobody has to do it, you know. Except as a band you have to do it. If you want to keep the band together, you have to go on the road, you have to play. A band isn't a band in the proper sense of the word. It doesn't play in front of people. You know, that's how a band always starts. You know, it doesn't start to make records or money or anything else. It starts to play on a stage in front of people. I mean, some nights it's tough, sometimes it's easy. You know, some nights it's a perfect temperature in the hall, and you come off with a little patch under the arm. You know, but not very often. You know. In fact, I'd rather sweat because I don't really feel like I'm so used to sweating and heat when I'm playing that I don't really feel that I've done it unless I come off drenched. You know.
It's always been hot. It's sort of part of rock and roll to sweat it all out. You know?
How long does it take you to recover at the end of the show?
Well, it takes physically about 10 minutes, I suppose, and then mentally about 4 hours.
Well, I'm talking about killing yourself with dope.
With dope? Well, I wish there was some around, man. We'd better get high right now.
Those things that look like joints on stage are only there to fool the public, but they really are joints. They're really John Platt specials, with the ends cut off.
In a makeshift tune-up room, Keith Richard and Ron Wood lock themselves in to complete the last of several pre-stage rituals.
Tune-up room session.
I first played with the Stones on a American TV show Shindig. It was produced by Jack Good, yay. And they came and they were doing a show with Howlin' Wolf. And
what year was that?
That was about 65 or 66.
So now 10 years on, what's changed about their music, first of all? Anything?
Not anything. Not a thing has changed, really.
What's all this business in here just now?
What, the police?
Yeah.
Our bomb scare.
Do you have to live with that kind of thing a lot?
Yeah, all the time. All the time. You know, in fact, we haven't... Marla. In fact, we haven't as many bomb scares this time as we did in America. This is like the second one. Excuse me.
This is the second one?
This is the second one of the tour. We had one in Frankfurt the first night. And but the Germans have ways of dealing with it.
I risked life and limb and look for it. I didn't go off, you know what I mean? Which actually should have been your immediate reaction, right? You know what I mean? Oh, bomb scare, excuse me, out the door, voila.
So you've decided to go ahead. How long is it now since you got the phone call?
It got off 3 minutes ago. So that's why we're talking now, John. I wouldn't like to subject you to a bomb.